President Muhammadu Buhari has signed the 2022 budget into law, albeit with some reservations. He signed the 17.13 trillion naira 2022 appropriation bill into law, flagged by Senate President Ahmed Lawan, Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbadabiamila, as well as Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning. The President expressed his displeasure over changes and major additions and reductions made by the National Assembly in critical projects. Some of the reservations by the President include increase in projected independent revenue by 400 billion naira, reduction in the provision for sinking fund to retire maturing bonds by 22 billion naira, reduction of the provisions for the non-regular allowances of the Nigerian Police Force and the Nigerian Navy by 15 billion naira and 5 billion naira, inclusion of new provisions totaling 36.59 billion naira for National Assembly projects. Provisions made for as many as 10,733 projects were reduced, while 6,576 new projects were introduced into the budget by the National Assembly. He announced that he will revert to the National Assembly with a request for amendment as soon as the Assembly resumes to ensure that critical ongoing projects cardinal to this administration do not suffer a setback due to reduced funding. The President recounted that during the presentation of the 2022 appropriation bill, he had stated that the fiscal year 2022 will be very crucial in his administration's efforts to complete and put to use critical agenda, as well as improve the general living conditions of Nigerians. In response, the President of the Senate, in a chat with State House correspondents, insists that the lawmakers were right in their decisions.
As for the observations Mr. President has raised, this is a natural and logical tendency between the executive and the legislature. Sometimes our views on certain issues may not be necessarily the same kind of views that the executive would have and hold on any particular matter. So I don't think what the President did by raising some observations as something that we should worry about. I'm happy that the President signed the budget in the first place, and he said he's coming back to the National Assembly to seek for amendments or amendments, and this is natural, logical legislative process. So I'm happy that we have done our own part in our own way. This is based on judgments. When we ask for more resources coming from the independent sources, especially from the government-owned enterprises of about 400 to 500 billion, is because we believe that these government-owned enterprises should contribute even much more. In fact, I hold the opinion that they should have contributed about 1 trillion at least, not 500 billion or so. So I believe that the National Assembly was right in its judgment, but there is nothing wrong in the executive arm of government coming back to the National Assembly to see how we are able to dialogue and go through the process and see where the misunderstanding is. But I don't think that is supposed to be a worrisome development for us.